Have you ever just stared at a big list of numbers and your brain kind of just shuts down? It all looks like a jumbled mess, right? Well, today we're going to learn how to take that mess and make it tell a story. We're diving into one of the most useful tools in data, the frequency table.
Okay, so take a look at this. We've got the results from a survey of 40 families asking how many mobile phones they have. It's just a wall of numbers. Right now, could you tell me what the most common number of phones is? Or how many families have, say, 5 phones? It's tough. You'd have to count them one by one.
And that's the thing. Right now, this list doesn't tell us much at all. It's just raw data without any rhyme or reason. To pull any real insights out of this, we need a way to see the patterns hiding in plain sight. And that's where our hero comes in. Meet the frequency table. Its job is simple, but honestly, it's a game changer. It organizes all that messy data by showing you the frequency, which is just a fancy word for how often each number shows up. It's the first step to making your data actually speak to you.
Essentially, we're going to see how to turn that confusing block of numbers we saw into a clean, simple table that you can understand in like 2 seconds. Big difference, right? So, you ready to see how it's done? Awesome. Let's walk through it together. I promise it's way easier than it looks, and once you get the hang of it, you'll start seeing data totally differently. It really just boils down to these 3 simple steps. First, we set up the table. Then, we do the tallying, and finally, we count it all up. Let's break down each one. Step 1 is super simple. Just draw a table with 3 columns. The first column is for the thing you're counting. In this case, the number of mobile phones, from 0 all the way to 5. The second column is for our tally, and that third one is for the final frequency, which is just the total count.
And now for the satisfying part. Step 2. We go through that big list of numbers one by one. The first number is a 2, so we put a tally mark in the 2 row. The next is a 3, so a tally mark goes next to 3. And you'll see we're using that classic tally method. 4 lines down and the 5th one cuts across. It's a simple little trick that makes counting everything up at the end so much faster.
And finally, step 3. You just count the tally marks in each row and pop the total into the frequency column. So for 2 phones, we've got 2 groups of 5 plus 1 more. That's 11. Now here's a pro tip. When you're done, add up that whole frequency column. The total should be 40, right? The same number of families we surveyed. It's the perfect way to double-check that you haven't missed a number. And there you go, a perfect frequency table.
Okay, so you've totally mastered the basics. But what happens when the data's a little more wild? Let's level up our skills and talk about grouping.
Imagine you're not counting something simple like phones, but maybe the hours students spent on homework. You could have values like 1.5 hours, 2.25 hours, 3.1 hours, all over the map. A simple table with a row for every single possibility would be gigantic, and, well, we'd be right back where we started with a confusing mess. So, what do?
We group the data. Instead of a row for every single tiny variation, we create ranges, or what we call class intervals. So here we're looking at homework hours for 30 students, but we've put them into buckets, a group for 0 to 1 hour, another for 1 to 2 hours, and so on.
Now, let's look at how these intervals are written, because it looks a little mathy, but it's actually super straightforward. This notation here, 0 less than x less than or equal to 1, just means this bucket includes any value that is greater than 0, but less than or equal to 1. The important thing is, this makes sure every single data point fits into exactly one group. There are no overlaps and no confusion. It's a really precise way to handle data that's more spread out.
All right, we've done the work, we've organized the chaos, but why? What's the big payoff for all this effort?
Because this is where the magic really happens. The table isn't the finish line. It's the starting block. It lets you stop just looking at the data and start looking into it. You can finally ask real questions and get clear answers back.
For example, let's ask our homework data a question. What percentage of students took more than 3 hours? Before, that would have been a total pain to figure out. But now, we just look at our table. The group for more than 3 up to 4 hours has a frequency of 5. So that's 5 students out of our total of 30.
And now the calculation is a piece of cake. 5 divided by 30 multiplied by 100%, which gives us 16 2/3%. That is a powerful, concrete insight that was completely invisible when all we had was that messy list of numbers.
So here's the takeaway. A frequency table is so much more than a chart. It's a tool for transformation. It turns chaos into clarity, and it turns vague questions into solid answers. You've just learned a fundamental skill for making sense of the world. So the only question left is, what patterns are you going to go find next?